Hi mathematicians! Today we're going to continue our work with rounding, and we're going to look at a few problems and see if we can find out if the answers are reasonable by using rounding. So you're going to look at number 24 with me. It's 93 minus 29 equals 64. Be sure to pay attention to that sign so you know whether it would be reasonable or not. Looking at 93, if I were going to round that, I know that there's a 3 in the ones place and 4 and below, take it down low. There's a 9 in the tens place and it's between 90 and 100. So I am going to say 90, and I'm going to stack it because I think that'll help us with our work today. Minus, and I don't want to say 29, I want to round it. So looking at 29, there's a 9 in the ones place. 29 is between 20 and 30, the two tens. 9 is a high number, right? So I'm going to go 5 and above, give it a shove. That's going to round to 30. Now this is going to be my estimate. When it tells you in the directions to use rounding to decide if the answer is reasonable, that's what we want to do. So 90 minus 30. 0 minus 0 is 0. 9 minus 3 is 6. So 60 is what I got for my estimate. 64 is the answer they gave. I would say yes, that is reasonable. Now I have to find the answer to see if I was correct. So now what I want you to do is stack it. 93 minus 29 without rounding. This is how we'll know if our estimate was correct. Starting in the ones place, 3 minus 9. Well, I can't do that. So I'm going to make a new group of 10, take it away from the tens place, make that an 8, and bring it over to the 3. So now I have 13 minus 9. If I count up from 9 to 13, that's 10, 11, 12, 13. That gives me 4. Now I'm going to say 8 minus 2, which is 6. And yep, I was right. That was a reasonable answer. Okay, so we're going to also do this with hundreds. So I'm going to show you another one. Let's look at 113 plus 57 equals 140. Well, you can round 113 to the nearest 10, even though it's in the hundreds place. Because there's a 3 in the ones place, I would round that to 110. And then I'm going to add, instead of 57, I want to round it because I want to estimate. There's a 7 in the ones place, 5 and above, give it a shove. 50, we're between 50 and 60, so that's going to round up to 60. When I add 0 plus 0, I get 0. 1 plus 6 is 7. 1 plus nothing is 1. So when I think 170 is my estimate, and they're saying 140, I'm going to say no, that is not very reasonable. That's 30 difference. And that's a big difference. So now stack it, 113 plus 57. And let's see what you get. 3 plus 7 is 10. Put the 0, make that new group. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 5 is 7. 1 plus nothing is 1. So 170 is what I said. Not 140, they are not equal. So was my estimate correct? My estimate was correct. Theirs was not. Their answer was incorrect. So no is right for that one. Now, when you do a lot of these problems today, they're going to be in the hundreds place. That was rounding to the nearest 10. So let me show you a couple with hundreds. If you are doing a problem like this, 336 plus 258, you can choose to round to the nearest 10, or you could choose to round to the nearest 100. I find that it's a little bit easier to round to the nearest 10 because your accuracy is better. So if I were doing 336 plus 258, and I wanted to know if 594 is reasonable, I would say 336. I'm going to round that to 340 because I'm just looking at the 36 and there's a 6 in the ones place. 5 and above, give it a shove, so I'm going to round that to 340. Then I'm going to add 258, but I need to round that. Well, I'm going to leave the 2 in the hundreds place. I'm going to think about the 58 because I'm going to round to the nearest 10. There's an 8 in the ones place, 5 and above, give it a shove. I'm going to round that to 260. Then I'm going to add that. 0 plus 0 is 0, 4 plus 6 is 10, carry the 1. That's about 600. 594 is very close to 600, so I'm going to say yes. That's a reasonable answer. Then I'm going to rewrite it, and again, you have all this space because I want you to stack it. Now on your Google slide, you can do it on scratch paper and then just enter the answer in a text box. Okay, so start in the ones place, 6 plus 8, that's going to be 14. Make your new group of 10. 5 plus 3 is 8, plus 1 is 9, 3 plus 2 is 5. 594 was right. That is reasonable. So my yes was correct. So that's the work you'll be doing today in math. Again, if you decide to round to the nearest 100, it might not give you the answer you're looking for. So I suggest round to the nearest 10, and that will be more accurate. It gives you more accurate answer. Okay, then you're also going to see today a puzzled penguin. And I'm just going to read this to you. And I want you to think of it as an exit ticket. You know how I'm always asking for detail. The more information you give, the better people can understand your thinking. So here's the question. What's the error? I know Puzzled Penguin is always confused. Dear math students, today my teacher asked me to estimate the answer to this problem. Miss Smith's class brought in 384 soup labels. Mr. Alvarez's class brought in 524 soup labels. About how many labels did the two classes bring in? So this is exactly what we were doing. Puzzled Penguin rounded it from 384 to 300, 524 to 500. When he added, he got 800. He says that about 800 soup labels were brought in. Is my answer correct? If not, please correct my work and tell me what I did wrong. Your friend, Puzzled Penguin. So on your Google slide, you'll enter your answer in a text box. Now remember, you have to say yes or no whether his answer is correct or not, and then we know that he's always confused, that there's an error. Then you have to tell the correct answer. So about, you don't have to find the exact number, but it says about. That's your key word. Make sure you're estimating by rounding. And you can round to the nearest 100 because that's what Puzzled Penguin did. If he's saying about 800 soup labels were brought in and you say that's wrong, about how many soup labels were brought in? Be sure to correct the work and tell Puzzled Penguin what he did wrong. What should the answer be? What did he do wrong? Okay, so that's your work for today. And just to remind you, if you decide on some of these to round to the nearest 100, let me just show you how you might do that. If you're going to do 438 minus 158, when you're rounding to the nearest 100, that's when you look at the tens place. So you got to move over one. So if 438 has a 3 in the tens place, you would round that to 400. And if you were subtracting 158 because it has a 5 in the tens place, you would round that to 200. Now, again, like I say, the problem is it's not quite as accurate, but 200 and 280 is off by a lot. So you would think, that's incorrect. But is it? So that's the tricky part. Let's try. 280 is a lot different. I wouldn't think that's correct. But because I rounded to the nearest 100, it's not going to be very close. Let's do the accuracy. 8 minus 8 is 0. 3 minus 5 I can't do. So let's cross out the 4. Borrow, make a new group. 13 minus 5 is 8. 3 minus 1 is 2. So see how that is correct. I would have said no. by saying 400 minus 200, because 200 and 280 are not close at all. So I suggest, I know a lot of you like to round to the nearest 100, and that's what Puzzle Penguin did, but you're going to get a much better answer if you round to the nearest 10. Well, good luck with your work today, and I can't wait to see how you did.